it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to do my March wrap up, like a month late, but better late than never. So March was a weird month for me. March was when all the stuff started happening and the world started going crazy. So I had a really solid, unbelievably huge March TBR. Lucy, my TBR just went out the window. So hardly anything that was on my TBR video is going to be in this wrap up, but that's okay. I read a lot of stuff that made me happy this month, and we're just going to roll with it. So let's get to what I read. The first book I read is Kitty Confidential by Molly Fitz. This was a book for a cozy mystery book club I'm in, and I listened to it on audio, and it follows the story of this lady who is working at a law firm, and then there's an accident where she gets electrocuted by this old coffee maker. And then all of a sudden she can hear this cat's thoughts, and she and this cat team up to help solve the murder of the cat's owner. And I liked the premise of it. And I really liked the cat as a protagonist. He was really snarky and funny. But I gave this book 2 stars. It was missing something. I'm not really sure what, but it was just kind of lacking that extra je ne sais quoi to get it up to 3 or 4 stars. So next I read Midsummer Night's Mischief by Jennifer David Hess, or Hesse, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. But that is another cozy mystery. It's the first book in the Wiccan Wheel mystery series. And it follows this woman who works at a law firm, and she also happens to be a Wiccan, but she doesn't advertise it because she thinks it might affect her job. And she gets entangled with this client who has this extremely valuable first edition Shakespeare folio. Client gets murdered, the folio goes missing, and our main character, as usual in a cozy mystery, helps to solve the crime. And I really enjoyed this. Wicca is something that has always fascinated me, and I really liked that it was in a cozy mystery. I've never seen that before, and I really liked the way this author wrote, and the story was really good. I just blew through it, could not put it down, and I actually ended up ordering the next few in the series because I loved it so much. So I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. Next I read Anne of Avonlea by Ellen Montgomery. This is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and I'm reading that for the Anne-along that is happening this year. And this continues the story of Anne Shirley. And I adored this book, gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and Anne just continues to be wholesome and captivating and endearing, and I just highly recommend this series. Then I read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I have a full review on this that I'll link, so I won't really go into it, but this is a very interesting book, and I gave it 5 stars, but it's because I enjoyed it, but the 5 stars were really this world that she crafted, and the way she wrote it was just masterful. And this is definitely a book that has stuck with me since I started reading it, and I do highly recommend it. But there are a lot of content warnings, FYI. Next I read Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I also have a review for this book, which I will link, but spoiler alert, I gave it 1 star, and I absolutely hated it. Absolutely despised it, and I want those hours of my life back. Next, I read Murder on Cape Cod by Maddie Day. This is the first book in the Cozy Capers book group mystery series, and it is set in Massachusetts. And once again, the main character gets involved in a murder and helps to solve the crime. But I really, really loved this one because it's set in a tiny home on the coast of Massachusetts, and the protagonist owns a bike shop, and she is actually mixed race. She's first generation American. So I loved learning about that culture, and then just seeing her family dynamics and them interact was so great. And I really enjoyed the mystery in this book. And I just love the way Maddie Day writes. She also writes under Edith Maxwell. And she is a very sweet human being. And I immediately bought the second book in this series because I loved it so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Dead in Dublin by Katie Murphy. This is the first book in a Dublin driver mystery series. And once again, our protagonist, Megan, gets involved in a murder, but this is set in Ireland, and she is actually a limousine driver, and one of her clients' wives is found dead. And so she gets involved because she feels so bad for the husband that she just wants to help. And then she just gets entangled in the mystery. And I really enjoyed this. I listened to the audiobook for most of it, and I loved hearing the Irish lilt, and it made me want to go back to Ireland and just be in the green and on the coast and be in Dublin, which is such a cool city. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend it. Next, I listened to the audiobook of The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This is a classic short story, and I've read it before, but I've never listened to it on audio. And it basically follows this woman who, in that time period, if you had any kind of mental illness, you were considered to have like hysteria, and you just needed to stay in bed and rest. And she ends up, her husband's a doctor, and she is on bed rest in this room with yellow wallpaper. And it's basically her slow descent into madness. And when I read the book, I really, really loved it. But then I listened to the audiobook, which you can find on YouTube for free. Oh my goodness, that just elevated the creepy factor like way high, and just added an extra layer to the story, and I loved it even more. And I highly recommend this short story. It's only like 65 pages, and when you read the story and then go and read about the author's life and how they kind of mirror each other, it's fascinating. But I obviously gave that 5 out of 5 stars, and I do highly, highly recommend it. In March, the wonderful, wonderful Josh Gad started doing Twitter live videos where he would read children's books to bring some brightness to the world. So I counted those because I watched a lot of them and listened to the whole book, and it just made me smile because they were really good books. So the first one was The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, and that was a childhood favorite for me. So I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. The next was The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, 4 out of 5 stars. The Day the Crayons Quit by Drew Daywalt, 5 out of 5 stars. Olivia Goes to Venice by Ian Falconer, 5 out of 5 stars. Iggy Peck Architect by Andrea Beatty, 4 out of 5 stars. The Bear and the Piano by David Litchfield, 5 out of 5 stars. And Olivia and the Missing Toy by Ian Falconer, 4 out of 5 stars. So I really enjoyed that, and that is exactly what I needed at that time. Next, I read Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is the first book in the St. Rosetta's Academy series, and this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I do have a dedicated review for this. Lucy, can you just jump up here, please? Come on. Can you say hello to your fans? Yeah. Every time I sit at my desk. I do have a dedicated book review for this, so I'll link it, but I really, really enjoy this, and I do recommend the audiobook. Sit down. Be a good girl. Sit down. Next, I read the book Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. This is a middle grade book that follows a deaf girl, and she is obsessed with radios. And one day in her science class, her teacher plays this film about this whale who lives its life someone is either in distress or fighting. I recently got a bunch of new neighbors about this whale who lives a solitary existence because it can't connect with the other whales around it. And our protagonist gets the idea that maybe it's because he can't hear them, like maybe he's deaf too. And so she starts this project where she tries to find out, and she's communicating with the science team that's surrounding this whale, and it's such a lovely, heartwarming story, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I read it in almost one sitting, and it's an automatic favorite for me. And I do have a review that I'm in the process of editing and working on, so you'll hear more of my thoughts later, but I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I listened to a couple of children's books that I had been interested in, so I counted those as well. The first book is Escargot by Dashka Slater, and I actually read this for a children's literature class before, and it is the most adorable children's book, and it's about this little French snail, and he's talking to you about his salad, and it is the cutest book. And I bought it on my Kindle because I love it so much, and so I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Lotus and Flower by Ji Zhang, and that was such a beautiful story about this girl and this bird, and they have a bond, and I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. And then finally, I read Fry Bread by Kevin Noble Mallard, and that focused on Native American culture and fry bread and what cooking that means to the community and to family. And I just thought it was such a beautiful, well done children's book, and I would definitely reread it again. So I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read the middle grade book All the Impossible Things by Lindsay Lackey, and this follows a girl who is adopted, and she is just trying to find her way in life, and she's had a hard time in the foster care system, and then she gets adopted by this family who are just genuinely good people, and she has a hard time adjusting to that. And this is her basically coming of age and learning who she is and learning what it means to have a home. And I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Anne of the Island by Ellen Montgomery. This is the third book in the Anne of Green Gables series. And again, we follow Anne, and in this book we follow her. She goes away to college, and I enjoyed it. I didn't find it as captivating as the first 2 books, but I still really loved her journey, and we still have her wonderful sense of humor and all these amazing characters. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And next is one of my new favorite children's books. I've been hearing Tia and All the Books talk about it a couple times on her channel, and that made me want to pick it up. And that is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate DiCamillo. And it was such a sweet, hopeful book, and it just put a smile on my face, and it's very heartwarming. And I listened to the audiobook. It's like 2 hours long, so it's a really fast read, but if you want something that'll make you smile and just feel cozy, I would highly recommend it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, and I do have a book review for that, so I won't go into it, but I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. And finally, I was really in the mood for something that I knew would make me smile, and something light and fun, and so I reread for the 4th time There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon, and I've just come to accept that this is one of my favorite books ever, and I just love it so much. I love the culture in it. I love the story. I absolutely love Sweetie. I love Ashish, and I just can't say enough good things about it. And the way Sandhya Menon writes YA romance is just so fun and happy and lighthearted. And I do have a review for this, so I'll link it, but definitely check this one out. Overall, I read 5 physical books and 21 audiobooks. I started working from home this month, so without the socializing with my coworkers and talking to all of them, I listened to a lot of audiobooks. And so I read a total of 5,272 pages, and I am very happy with my reading this month. I read a lot of books that just made me happy, which is what I needed. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there. I will see you guys next time.